Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be giving you answers for frequently asked questions about the coronavirus. We're also going to teach you how to trade them. And these are just opinions I agree with. We're going to be quoting Dr. Stephen Morse, professor of epidemiology at the Mailman School of Public Health, Columbia University, as well as a pathogen expert, Dr. Sarah Mata. We're going to go ahead and answer a coronavirus FAQ, and then afterwards tell you how you could capitalize upon the event. We're going to go through that and more. I am Mark Melnick. This is the Newsbeat Show. So, if you live anywhere in the world and you have access to some basic internet, you have been hearing about the coronavirus and you've been hearing a lot of stories, people supposedly calling it, a huge epidemic, a huge disaster. But then you have people playing it down. It's nothing to worry about. Well, I think it's better that you be the judge. And instead of me just coming out and telling you my opinions, which I do have some, and I'm sure you do as well, I wanted to share the opinions of a couple experts with us here today, in which I'm going to be quoting some of the things they said and answering it. And then after the whole ordeal, after I answer all these questions for you, you could be the judge. You could be the judge of what is going to happen next. And I'm going to also tell you how I plan on trading it and how you could potentially trade it and the type of traders that are looking at this market and what they're thinking. Of course, as always, by watching this Newsbeat show, you're going to pause the next slide, read it in its entirety, and then hit play. Thank you so much for reading that. Okay, so we have a very interesting set of questions for you here today. And as answered by Dr. Stephen Morse, Dr. Siramata, we're going to be asking 7 simple questions and sharing their answers. Is the coronavirus a death sentence? Wearing a mask, how effective is that? Did it really come from bat soup? Did the Chinese deliberately release this? Is it the most dangerous virus out there? Can receiving a package from China, can that actually transmit the coronavirus? And, of course, does the virus only affect older people? So, I'm sure you know the answers to a lot of these questions, but I did want to put it in the context of the experts. And then when we're done with this, we're going to talk about the traders who are looking for a bounce in the market, looking for a further decline, and where you should be from a psychological perspective as a trader when actually encountering an environment like that. And then I'm going to interject. So, the coronavirus is actually considered an extremely mild viral infection. It's not something like that you've seen on the movie Outbreak or some of the other television shows where somebody gets infected and then hours or a day or two or three later, they're just hemorrhaging blood from all their orifices. But it is considered a very mild viral infection. And again, I am quoting the words from 2 experts here. And I think it's really the fear in the market that is dragging us down. Yes, places and plants closing can affect the numbers for the next earnings season and whatnot. We all know that. But the coronavirus is not a death sentence. So it does have a 2% um, fatality rate, which again, and I'll probably mention it again as we go on, the SARS, for example, was higher than a 10% fatality rate. And again, at least 5, maybe 6 times more deadly was SARS, and even MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, MERS, MERS, um, was much more deadly. Now, why am I comparing them to those two viri? I'm not trying to find the worst and say this is where we are now. Did you know that the SARS and MERS were actually coronaviruses? We've had three outbreaks of coronaviruses in the past 3 decades. Things like this happen for, there could be a plethora of reasons from human activity. People will quote a million different reasons why these things can spread. To me, that's not really important. I mean, they're found in nature. This coronavirus is found in nature. There were coronaviruses before. Again, SARS was a coronavirus that had a higher than 10% mortality rate. MERS, much more deadly than this. Compared to the last two coronavirus outbreaks, because Corona, no, not the beer, but Latin for crown, because it has spikes all over and it looks like a crown, um, is actually considered extremely mild. Not saying that that should ease fears, but I'd rather just talk to you from a more factual perspective. Doesn't mean, it can't kill you. I mean, you could be walking on a peaceful sunny day and you could trip over a sidewalk and break your skull, right? I mean, it's a mild viral infection. Okay. Now, the next thing is we all see these mask stocks coming out. Is wearing a mask helpful? And then you see companies like Triple M trying its best to rally for reasons I cannot even begin to imagine. You have these companies like Nanovirusides and Alpha Protech and Lakeland Industries and all these Corona plays. And yes, these companies, they are just thrilled with this virus out there. And I hate to sound so grim, but all I have to say is on a stock like, for example, Lake or the APT Alpha Protect, I just want to show you like what a monthly of this stock looks like. You can't even see it. I mean, this thing has been stuck in a dollar range, dollar and a half, $2, $2, dollar and a half. Boom, $41 this month. Yeah, I'm sure they're sitting there crying, wishing the best for people on the coronavirus. Companies like this, and not to sound grim or evil, it's just business, love the coronavirus. They're actually drinking Corona beers in the office right now, hoping that this thing spreads forever because their market capitalization went up 20 times in value, 30 times in value. Nonetheless, wearing a mask. Can it actually be helpful? Well, here's the problem with wearing a mask. The mask that you buy in the store, the surgical mask that you see that people cover their faces with, doesn't really help. The one that healthcare professionals use is an N95 mask, which is like a, almost like a portable a portable respirator. When you put on the mask, there's actually professional training done to put on these masks. It's called fit testing, and it's very hard to breathe within a properly fit tested mask because all the air has to go and be filtered. When you're wearing that little surgical mask, it might make you feel better. It's actually not doing much. And again, according to these doctors, and I'm reading their notes here. I'm reading their notes here. Um, a mask, the masks are designed for sick people. The people who should be wearing the masks are the actual people who are infected with the coronavirus, not healthy people. And that is the irony behind buying masks. You can do whatever. If it makes you feel better to walk around with a mask, do it. It's worth feeling better for the cheap price of a mask. If you think that's going to make you super immune to the viri, no. The next thing is it came from bat soup. It was spread in the Wuhan province of China in a very wet market where there were a lot of different animals. Wet meaning it was very moist. which is a perfect condition for viri to live in, and it was transmitted. No, eating bat soup would actually not give you a virus. All right. Soup is cooked, boiling water. Viri do not live in those types of environments. So, no, it did not come from bat soup. The next thing is, was it deliberately released? And I feel almost nobody has a real answer to that, but pretty much 99.999999999% the answer is no. I mean, these things are found naturally in nature. They're found all over. There is, when you actually look at the SARS and MERS virus, which are two forms of coronavirus, and that's why they had to rename it, because when you say the coronavirus, it's not as scary because we've been through SARS, we've been through MERS, we got over them. I got an idea. Let's call it the covert operation 19. No, 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 no. Then they'll know we're spreading fear-mongering tactics. Let's call it the COVID 19. That's like corona and virus, but it's like vid. It's like a video, like COVID. It wasn't deliberately. Most likely, this thing has not been deliberately released. This has not been deliberately released. We've had coronavirus in the past, and I can guarantee you before we had all these electron microscopes, which is more of a recent technology, the coronavirus could have probably predated humans. Could have been around for millions and millions, maybe a billion years. There's nothing about this coronavirus that is um, awkwardly or suspiciously different, referring more to human engineering, than the other coronavirus out there. Okay? So, no, most likely it wasn't deliberately released. And if it was, which it, I mean, again, odds are it was, I'd rather try to win a lottery ticket than bet on it being deliberately released. They did a bad job of trying to bioengineer it. Um, Again, step five, is it the most dangerous virus out there? And obviously, the answer to that is no. SARS, another coronavirus, remember SARS and the market dropped on SARS, had a 10%, more than 10% fatality rate. MERS was a higher fatality rate as well. This is considered to be a very mild viral infection, according to these experts. Okay. Getting a package from China can transmit the coronavirus, even though there is no data that is released to the public now showing how long the virus can live outside of, a human host. Probably not. Most viri cannot survive outside of a living host for a long time, unless you're buying like raw meat wrapped in like newspaper or something like that. And still, that would even be questionable to carry it over, um, which is disgusting too. Nobody does that. No, getting a package from China is most likely not going to give you or transmit the coronavirus. Okay. Here's an interesting one. The virus only affects older people. Now here's the thing about that. All right. Yes, elderly people are more likely to have more serious complications from the disease than others. However, most of the people infected, you ready for this one, are actually in hospitals. They weren't triathletes running around. And then, I was just eating my Wheaties and drinking my fresh pressed orange juice, and I came out with corona. Much like Cloridium difficile and bacterial diseases and others, this virus is mostly spread through hospitals. And if you're in the hospital, you have a 98% chance of being okay with it. 18 to 20% of people get critical reactions and then come down from them. So even if you're in a hospital and you contract it, odds are, very high odds are, you're going to be okay. The CDC also reported, and this was, and I'm not just bringing this up, this was reported by these doctors as well. The CDC for last October, the seasonal flu infected 20 million Americans. The seasonal flu from last October in the United States of America infected 20 million Americans. 10,000 of those Americans died, perished. Now, compared to the coronavirus, the numbers of deaths are much higher. I would like to also point out the living conditions in Wuhan are a lot different than the living conditions in the United States of America. They are much, much different. In English, what I am saying, God forbid, I do have a wooden desk from IKEA. If the same number of people in Wuhan got infected in the great armpit of America of New Jersey, I humbly believe that 2% would probably drop to like 0.2%, if not lower. So again, 20 million people were infected with the seasonal flu. If we called the flu vid 23 9000, maybe the market would drop a little lower. People, and I'm not making light of any issues here. I am just actually trying to do the exact opposite. I'm trying to actually explain to you what is happening and why the market is dropping. Right now, as we speak, on this Saturday, I just need you to know, like right now, I'm looking it right up on my phone. Right now, we are down. We are down right now. The Dow is down 643 points. We're down 2.5% after hours right now from Friday. Just, you know, I don't know if the glare's going to work. I don't know, whatever. Take my word for it. We're down 2.5% after hours. Okay. We did have our first death in Washington. Now, a lot of the deaths in Washington, we're not sure where they're coming from in the United States. We did experience our first death in the United States of America. But I do want to point out something with the recovery rate, which is not being mentioned. And again, this is from Dr. Stephen Morse. He's a professor of epidemiology at the Mailman School of Public Health at Columbia University. He's in the who's who when it comes to this field. He brought up a very good point. He said there was only, 6, 7, 8,000 recoveries reported, but we don't report recoveries from people leaving. The vast majority of recoveries are not important, are reported. If you caught the flu or whatever, and you drank hot tea and stayed in bed and sweated it out with some chicken soup or such, or you bought a Theraflu or a Tamiflu and you fought it off and you feel better now, you're not exactly reporting that to authorities. So, according to him, the vast, vast majority of people who already recovered from the coronavirus never reported it. You're not exactly reporting when you get sick. You're not exactly reporting when you recover from getting sick. When was the last time that you reported to the government when you caught a viral infection like the common cold or flu? When was the last time you called up the CDC? Yeah, I have an announcement to make. The same thing is with the coronavirus. It is a very publicized health event. It is definitely something that we should take precautions for. but there is a lot of false information being put out there. And I want to thank Dr. Stephen Morse and Dr. Saramata for sharing this information with us and actually debunking a lot of the nonsense that is out there. Okay. And if you do live in the United States of America, it's already turning, it is turning into a political event. And how could it not be a political event? I mean, look at the market. Look at this market. No, I made a very good argument the other day if you didn't see. People are like looking at this market. The market already rallied off the bottom. And people are like, what do you mean? Rallies are measured in ranges. Rallies are not measured in time. A lot of people like to rally measures in amount of time, but for example, Apple, went to 273. Apple bounced almost 10% from the bottom on Friday. If Google dropped to $2,000 and then bounced to $2,200, you would make a very fair argument that the bottom was in. Even if it does go lower, at least it bounced, a dead cat bounce. At worst, you would have to call it. All these names had dead cat bounces already. That's the irony behind it. So, with the markets down right now, and again, nothing changes with my feelings. I mean, to me, this is one of the greatest. And I don't want to put a silver lining around the event because there are people who are sick out there and are and died off of this. But this is going to be, in my opinion, a phenomenal trading opportunity. And I do want to talk about that. The first group of traders, and let me hear a 33 if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or in chat if this is you. You ready? A lot of you look at the spiders, look at the Qs, look at any major ETF, look at all these stocks that have dropped. And the one thing here, let me try to just show you one chart, make it easier for you to see. You're looking at something like this, and the only thing you could think of is where do I buy in for a bottom bounce? I have to go long this thing overnight because you're literally afraid. You are afraid that the market is going to go up without you, and you're going to feel stupid for overreacting and ignoring a huge buying opportunity. How many people feel that? Let me get a 33 right now. Okay. So you are going to have a group of traders like that who want to do nothing but catch the bottom. Then you're going to have a smaller group of traders than that. And the only thing they're going to think about is I need to catch the next short down. A smaller group from the larger group. And you're going to be the ones who are like, look, this coronavirus is going to still be spreading. It's still going to be fear. We still don't have answers, and it's going to go down further. How many people feel that way? Can I get a 44 if you feel that way? I'll be honest, I'm part of the 33 group. And then there's going to be one more group of traders, which I feel that everybody should be in. Newsbeat Live members. What's wrong? We have hundreds of Newsbeat Live members on now. What's wrong with you guys on a Saturday night hanging out with us, watching this video? So you have a group of traders like that. Now, the next group of traders is what I feel are going to be the least psychologically toxic. I'm not sure about being the most profitable. Traders who are taking longs and or traders who are taking shorts, trying to predict the next move, they will make the most money and they will have the chance of losing the most money. The next group of traders are going to be the smartest traders in terms of lowest psychological capital risk. Those are going to be the traders who are just going to follow statistically accurate algorithmic strategies. They're going to follow things that work, and they're just going to care about making money in the intraday. Now, I'm not going to ask you how many people think that. I'm going to ask you something much simpler. How many traders would be happy missing any huge gap up or gap down? You'll get over it. But on the intraday on Monday, you're going to make money intraday catching moves on highly accurate statistical strategies that work in the current market drop environment. Can I get a 55 if you want that person to be you? Because just about every trader is falls within the 33 or 44 where you're looking at this chart and you either want it to shoot up or shoot down and you want to be involved overnight just to do that. Because if you tell me right now that your answer is 55, if you come to me right now and you say, you know what, Mark, I just want to make money. I really don't care. Yeah, I don't want people to get hurt or whatever. I want the market to go up for them in their 401ks. That's cool and all. Or maybe I want the market to drop more. I think it'll bring more trading opportunities, whatever. It's just a vehicle to make money. And I just want to make money intraday. Because let me tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, if that is you, I've solved the puzzle to the current environment. I know it sounds crazy. How is that possible? You don't need 1,000 strategies that work in the current environment. In fact, if you're following a lot of the technical analysis out there, most of it doesn't work. I actually did a video. And again, I do videos at very awkward times. And it basically showed, like Newsbeat Show 565, and it says why statistical analysis is greater than technical analysis. Even though we have all these quant guys around and reading these charts, and this goes up, and this does this, and this does this, and this, they're just, most of them are just blowing out their accounts. Most of them. The smartest people who understand everything. And I'm sitting there like a 3-year-old with a few broken fingers and a crayon, drawing a little line on a chart and crushing it and crushing the market on the intraday side. So I really want you to know that you really don't need to be that person catching longs or shorts. In fact, you could simplify all this drama around you by just doing statistically logical strategies. Watch. Watch the last 5 Newsbeat shows. You want to make money outside of the Newsbeat live room? The market's going to change and we're going to be adding more value. But for whatever reason, if you're watching this and you're not in our room and whatever, and you want to make money, watch the last 5 Newsbeat shows. They're free. And you're going to look back and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, what on earth have I uncovered here in the market? Making money really is that easy. It's up to me, and it's up to me to make this money, to simplify the process. It's up to me to stop listening to all these weird gurus and talking heads touting nonsense. Funny how most of them are not releasing, all the Wall Street gurus out there. Well, they're not releasing a lot of content. They're just flashing old P&Ls. Notice that? Again, the problem on Wall Street in an environment like this is nobody wants to admit that the entire market environment changed. We've come to that conclusion, admitted it, and we're able to capitalize upon it. So, if you do want to do well next week, I could even tell you the strategies I'm going to do. There's no point to beat a dead horse. Just watch the last few Newsbeat shows. I would watch the last 5 videos we put on. They're free on Facebook, they're free on YouTube. We offer you a lot of stuff for free, and you might be like, Mark, why are you offering all this stuff for free? Is it really hard to believe at this point with a dude who has a family, who's up 11 o'clock at night? I was up early this morning with my kids, who's up at this time at night talking about interviews with a professor of epidemiology for the Mailman School of Public Health at Columbia University, who's talking about Dr. Sarah Mata, who's a system-wide pathogen expert in New York City, and getting answers to the fears that are driving the market, only to come to you at night, share with you these answers, and then share with you strategies to capitalize on them. Does it really surprise you at this point that just maybe, Wall Street isn't full of vampires trying to dig two teeth hole within your wallets and suck it dry? It's like you look at your credit card, there are two holes in it. You're like, what is that? Yeah, a vampire bit your credit card. How about this? I'll do you one better. There's a free psychology ebook inside the description of this video. Take advantage of it. I didn't even give you a way in this video to sign up for the Newsbeat live room. I only gave you a link to a free psychology ebook, and I gave you my email in case you want to ask me a question directly. I answer your questions. I reach out to you. I try to help you in every way that I know possible because ultimately I do care about your success as a trader. And if you're up this late, you're watching this video, I could tell that you too care about trading and your future success financially. I hope you guys enjoyed this Newsbeat show. Happy trading, make money. And I will see you guys tomorrow on another Newsbeat show. Probably see the Newsbeat live room again earlier that morning. And then I will see you Monday on the Newsbeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.